Hey guys, it's Chris Pree. I want to talk to you today about why network marketing. You know, this could go an hour, but what I want to do is focus on what I learned back in 2001 from one of my mentors, because I'll never forget it. He did it to humble me. I just sold my real estate business, a little cocky. I had been used to selling 100 homes a year, and I got a good penny for selling it. Not a windfall, but I was comfortable. And so I wasn't really looking, so to speak. And he visited my home in Shrewsbury, Massachusetts. And he looked around, he said, "Beautiful home, Chris." It was about 6,000 square feet, and we had just built it. He said, "Do you have a mortgage on it?" I said, "Yeah, a significant mortgage." He said, "Oh, that's interesting." As he walked through my garage, he saw the 3 cars, 2 of them were Mercedes, and an Escalade, and he said, "Do you have car payments on those?" I said, "Yeah." So I kind of knew where he was going. I was bracing myself for this. And he said, "Chris, you know what? You're paying interest on that 24/7, and when you go to sleep, you can't stop the interest ticker, yet I earn money 24/7. So I asked him to explain it. Here's what he said. And this is what got my attention. These are the 3 things why I got interested in the bigger picture with network marketing, not just this week, this month, this year. First, out of the 3, the ability to create leverage because you're getting paid on the efforts of others. Okay? Thousands, tens of thousands, eventually hundreds of thousands, millions. So number 1, leverage created because you're getting paid on the efforts of others. Some people get a taste of that in different businesses. When I owned my brokerage, I had a taste of that. The challenge was I felt like I was running an adult daycare. I had 14 agents, and I felt like I was running an adult daycare. So there's other headaches that went around with that. We don't have those headaches here. Number 2, leverage because I can get paid on the consumption of others. Now think about this one. This goes a little deeper. Is it harder or easier to provoke a consumption habit or provoke someone to work? Let me give you an example. Did you have to think about this morning getting up and brushing your teeth? Did you have to think about getting up this morning and showering? Those are consumption or disciplined habits that you're used to. I didn't have to provoke that. And so if you look at what we're doing with Mila, once people have that emotional response, they buy it, they purchase it every single month. Look guys, 2% of the world population is getting the recommended daily allowance of omega-3s, yet it's essential to our body, okay? So when we have this leverage created because we're getting paid on not just the efforts, but the consumption of others, not much provocation has to happen there. You end up creating an ever-expanding web, ultimately an infinite web, of self-consumption that you can't stop if your life depended on it. It is powerful. What's the 3rd thing? I said there were 3. Well, time zone leverage. As he walked in my home that day in Shrewsbury, Massachusetts in 2001, November, right after 9/11, in addition to kind of needling me a little bit about the interest, he said, "Chris, when does your workday end?" This was at night. He had just flown in from California. I said, "Well, I'm done. I'm going to work with you." He said, "No, when does usually your workday end?" And I said, "Well, 5, 6, maybe 8 o'clock if I have a listing appointment." He said, "That's interesting because my day's ending too." And he just smiled at me. He said, "But my interest clock's not, Chris, because someone's getting up right now in Japan, and someone's getting up in Singapore, and someone's getting up in the Philippines, and in a little while, someone's getting up in Europe. And when they go to sleep, someone's getting back up on the East Coast." He said, "Chris, do you understand where I'm going with this? I'm earning 24/7. You earn when you're awake." There's a major, major difference. That conversation, which took a little bit longer than I just took with you, humbled me forever regarding the network marketing industry. I no longer saw myself above it. I saw myself beneath it, and so much more I could learn and create. Now, after just 18 months, or going on 19 months with LifeMax, I can tell you this is not an income claim, guys. This is not a growth claim. This is not a volume claim. Your experience may be better. Your experience may be worse. You may or may not stick with it if you're watching this video. So it's not a claim. It's just my experience. In the 19 months that I've been involved in the company, I've brought in around 70 people or so, maybe 75, counting my wife and I. That business has grown to about 8,500 people, maybe higher now, approaching 9,000, and has done $4 million in what we call BV, business volume. Now, I haven't sold one bag, and I encourage you to watch the Who Sells video on the same channel. My whole point is $4 million worth of volume in 19 months. We have not even scratched the surface. We have not even gotten this plane off the runway. Last week was one of my biggest weekly checks ever, in excess of $14,000. Guys, this is powerful. And if you get your arms wrapped around the leverage because you can get paid on the efforts of others, the leverage because you get paid on the consumption of others, and the leverage because you can earn 24/7, you've got your hands on a monster. You have one thing to do to take advantage of that. Stick to the system. Become totally systematic, not personality driven, okay? Systematic, systems driven. And number 2, don't stop. The biggest challenge I see, and I said it to one of the distributors recently, so it's not just because I'm on this video, I said, you know, the biggest challenge I see and the biggest bummer is I see people stopping a month or 2 months or 3 months before I knew they were going to pop a major, major growth curve. I'll give you a great example. In Bermuda, Dr. Larry Trott and Karen Simmons, they started off doing in-homes, and they just didn't stop. They just kept doing in-homes. And I said, keep doing it. You're going to be fine. You're going to have people that eventually show up, and they're going to have the burning eye also, and they're going to go do in-homes. And that won't happen right away, but you keep sifting until you find that. Well, guess what? They found that. And they went from 0 to 60 people like that. They went from 60 to 120 like that. It's happening, guys, and it'll continue to happen, and you can take full advantage of this massive leverage by staying systematic and following the system. Be sure to watch Kimmy Everett's video, Follow the System, on the same channel, and make it a great week.